Hi, let's talk about what you should put in your working bibliography. What is it and how should it look? So first of all, you're turning in a working bibliography. Bibliography is simply a record of the sources that you have referenced or used, and it's a list of your preliminary research sources. Later on in the research process, when you actually begin to write paragraphs or write a paper, you would have a works cited page in MLA format at the end of that paper that says the works that you've actually cited. A bibliography doesn't mean that you're actually going to cite them, but I imagine you most likely will, that you will be able to take this and turn it into a works cited. But if you decide that you need to add more resources, you can do that. Okay, so let's take a look at the components of it. First of all, you're turning this in as a separate document, and so you would want to have your MLA heading with a title, working bibliography would be fine, and put a page number up there. And here are your citations. I imagine that most of your sources will be online resources. That's what I have here. There are 5 online resources. And so the first one is Developing Countries. Developing Countries is the title of the heading of that was on the web page for the information that I would pull. There is no author, which is going to be true for a lot of your online resources. So here we have the heading that's on the web page, or if it's an article, it would be the title of the article in quotation marks. So Developing Countries is a heading. Human Development Indicators is also a heading. Then next you have the actual website. So the first website is the International Statistical Institute. Then you would have the publisher, or capital N.P. stands for no publisher. Notice the N is capitalized because a name here would be capitalized, such as in the World Bank Group down here. This is the publisher. ND stands for no date that it was published. Web is the medium. We found it on the web. And then 16 January 2014 is the date we looked it up. So those are all of the components of the first citation. Okay, here is the actual web page from where I found this information. So as I said, here is the article or the heading title. It is Developing Countries. The website is usually right up here in the left-hand corner. In this case, it's right in the middle. It says the International Statistical Institute. So I italicized the web page. How did I know about the publisher and such? Well, if you scroll to the bottom of the web page, I can scroll to the very bottom and I can see that there is no mention of a publisher nor a date that it was published. So therefore, I have no publisher, no date. Web, of course I found it online, and then 16 January 2014, the date of access is the day that I looked it up. Okay, so for example, let's come down here to infrastructure for the World Bank, and let me show you what it looks like when I do find a publisher and a date. So again, for all of these, as I'm assuming for a lot of your sources, there is no author's name. If there were, I would have started with the author's last name, comma, first name, dot, but there's not. So let's take a look though at the article or the heading of the web page infrastructure from the World Bank. Okay, so here it is. Here's the heading infrastructure, where I might pull some facts and some statistics and such to help me with my data. So there's the heading. Here's the website, the World Bank. Now if we scroll down on this website, I can see down at the bottom the copyright date 2014 and the World Bank Group. So that is who I would cite as the publisher. Even though it's very similar to the name of the website, if it has a publisher listed down there, that's what we want to put down there. So that's why I have the World Bank Group, comma, 2014 dot web and the date of access. So in this case, human developed indicators, again, there's no publisher, there was no date. This is the date I looked it up. Now sometimes, as in the NATO piece, there's not a publisher, but there's a date when the web page was last edited. So I have to go to the bottom, look it up, but these are all the pieces. I would have the author's last name, comma, first name, dot, if there is one, the heading or article title in quotation marks, the web page, or I'm sorry, the website in quotation marks, or rather, I'm sorry, the website is italicized, then publisher, date it was published, web, and the date you looked it up. So that is how you set up your working bibliography, especially if you're using online sources. If you are not, don't forget that you have the OWL at Purdue, the online writing lab. It is a great resource. It walks you through how to cite all different types of sources. So if you want to use posters, maps, books, videos, it walks you through how to do all of those. So this was just an introduction on how to set up a working bibliography. So good luck, and make sure you get it turned in on time. Thanks.